Good morning. Welcome to another fabulous episode of How Many Tabs Are Open on Mr. Johnson's Computer? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9 tabs today. It's an asynchronous day. Remember, Tuesday, May 11th, and Wednesday, May 12th are asynchronous. There are no Zoom meetings, so all your assignments are open at 8 o'clock and they're ready to go. And these are what you're completing for attendance. So make sure you complete all your assignments so you get your attendance credit. Okay, so what we're looking at today, May 11th, decimals, is we are going to make observations about some base 10 blocks, and then we're going to talk about kind of what we're looking at. So, how many groups are there? Oh, well, let's talk about the things to think about. All right, when we're looking at something like this, oftentimes it's just kind of like given to us, and the first thing we have to do is figure out what we're looking at. So one of the things, always focus on the key. The key is important because this tells us that we're dealing with decimals. This is one whole, this is a tenth, this is 100th, right? So we looked at the key. Next thing to do is, how many groups do we have? It looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. So we have 5 groups. How many are in each group? We have one whole, and then 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, and that looks like the same thing for every single one. So it looks like we have 1 and 3/10 in each group, one whole and 1, 2, 3/10. So really, it looks like what we're kind of looking at here is 5 groups of 1 and 3/10. Another way to say that would be 1 and 3/10 times 5. All right, so we're looking at 5 groups of 1 and 3/10. Of course, if we count these up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have 5 wholes, and then 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 15 tenths. So if we're going to add 5 wholes, and then we're going to add 15 tenths. Remember, 15 tenths is the same thing as 1 and 5/10. Could make an emoji 0. If we added all that together, we should get 6 and 5/10. Let's see if that math checks out using multiplication. All right, so 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. 1 decimal place, 1 decimal place. So it looks like either way that we answered that, whether we counted it all up or we did the multiplication algorithm, we get 6 and 5/10. All right, so that's what we're looking at here is this problem is a representation of 1 and 3/10 5 times. All right, and that should help us on our next part of the assignment. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on the next. Oh, I already had that open. So here we go. Here's the next part of our assignment, and what we're going to do is follow the instructions on each page to review multiplication with decimals, including products to the hundredths place. So we are going to represent these problems and find the answer. All right. So here, I need to make 4 groups of 1 and 24 hundredths. All right. So there's one group. And remember today, since we're doing multiplication, copy and pasting might be a little bit easier. So I'm going to make one group first, right? One group of 1 and 24 hundredths. So I have one whole, 2/10, and 4 hundredths. One whole, 2/10, 4 hundredths. One whole, 2/10, 4 hundredths. All right, so there's one group of 1 and 24 hundredths today. Might be easier to just, there's 2 groups, copy paste. 2 groups of 1 and 24 hundredths. 3 groups of 1 and 24 hundredths. 4 groups of 1 and 24 hundredths. All right, so we could either count everything that we have right there, or we can do the algorithm. So 1 and 24 hundredths times 4 groups. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 4 times 1 is 4. And remember, we have 2 decimal places, so we'll move our decimal point over 2 spots. So our answer, go ahead and type in right there, 4 and 96 hundredths. And that will solve that one. So we did 4 groups of 1 and 24 hundredths. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 tenths. And then if we added the 16 hundredths, that would be 1 and 6/10. So 4 plus 8/10 would be 4 and 8/10 plus 1600ths would be 4 and 9600ths. All right, next one. So what we're going to do is we're going to make two groups of 2 and 3600ths. So here is 2 wholes, and then 3/10, and then 600ths. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Need one more. 6. Okay. So we have 2 wholes, 1, 2. We have 3/10, 1, 2, 3/10, and we have 600ths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 600ths. So we need 2 groups of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy. I'm going to paste. There we go. We have 2 groups of 2 and 3600ths. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 wholes, 6/10, and 1200ths. So 4 wholes, 6/10, and 1200ths is basically what we're adding together. Remember, emoji zeros will make this way easier to look at. Or we can do 2 and 3600ths times 2. Both of these should give us the same answer. So remember, you count 2 decimal places, you move 2 decimal places. Over here, if we just add it together, drop the decimal point like it's hot when you're adding, and there you go. So there's 2 different versions of the answer. Either by adding all these up, we found that we have 4 and 7200ths. We added the 4 wholes, the 6/10, and the 1200ths. Or we just multiplied by 2. 2 groups of 2 and 3600ths equals 4 and 7200ths. Moving on. All right, so in these next two, this one's going to be interesting. All right, so we're going to do 2 and 1/10 times 1 and 5/10. All right, this is one of those ones that was a little bit funky. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to make 2 and 1/10 in one group. Actually, let me do it like this. All right, and there's 2 and 1/10. All right, and then on the other side, I kind of actually wonder how they're going to want you to do this because we can't move these. Can we rotate them? Let's see. And take 5 of these. I need to, 3, 4, 5. But I don't know how to rotate them. Okay, let's see. That flip them. Rotate. Rotate clockwise 90 degrees. Okay, there we go. Oh, that's not going to look right. Oh, I can stretch it out. Okay, I'm going to show you this one, but you don't have to make this one yourself. It's actually going to be a little bit difficult to make yourself because you have to do this. Okay, so here is 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/10 this way. Here's 1, 2, and 1/10 this way. So basically what we have to do is we have to fill up the space. Oops. Sideways. All right, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots for hundredths. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so our answer should be how many cubes we see in total. All right, so this is 2 and 1/10 times 1 and 5/10. As you can see, we went across. Let me move the whole thing so I can label. It'll be easier to see then. All right, so I'm going to move this. I'm going to delete all this. I just want to look at the main part. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. Right here is 1 and 5/10. As you can see, here's the 1 and the 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10. All right. This way, we're looking at 2 and 1/10. All right. Here's the 1 whole, 2 wholes, 1/10. Right. So our answer should be how many cubes you see in this array. So let's check our work. 5 times 1 is 6. 5 times 2 is 10. Second line, 1's place is 0. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Oops, add it together. You get 316, but we have 2 decimal places, so we're going to move 2 decimal places. So it says that we should have about 3 and 1600ths in this array. So let's figure out if that's true. All right, so we definitely have 2 holes. 2 holes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tenths. Remember, 11 tenths is the same thing as 1 and 1/10. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hundredths. So now I'm just going to add all of this stuff together. Emoji zeros can make it easier to look at. Remember, emoji zeros don't change the value. Drop that decimal point like it's hot. Uh-oh. I made a mistake somewhere. Oh, 5 times 1. That was my first mistake. What's 5 times 1, yo? Did y'all catch that? Yeah, we're like, Mr. Johnson, you did 5 plus 1. 5 times 1 is 5. So that would change that to 5. Oops. All right, so good thing we checked our work. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hundredths right there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tenths. We did get that part. We did get this part. And then there was 1, 2 holes. So we got that part. So our answer is 3 and 1500ths. Either you do it by multiplying and not adding, or you can figure out by counting the holes, the tenths, and the hundredths. All right, moving on. Another one like this, I'm going to set this one up for you. After I set it up, y'all can count. If you can make this yourself by flipping those tenths and stretching them out, it's kind of fun and it's a cool exercise. So what I mean is you click on it and then you say rotate clockwise 90 degrees. And the thing is, it needs to be as long as your hole. So you just got to stretch it out. And then you can just copy. Oh, wait a minute. This one's actually going to be really hard to do on this exercise. Let's see. Let's try something. Okay. 1, 2. Oh, paste. 2, 3, 4. Actually, we're going to just highlight for this one. That's going to be the easiest way to do it. Okay, so we made 1 and 3/10. I'm sorry. Okay, and then I'm going to get our pen out. All right, so this is going to be one of those ones where we make like the box and count how many because we have less than 1 hole right here. So here's 1 and 3/10, right? Once again, that whole thing is 1 and 3/10. We have 1 hole and 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. Okay, here's the thing. We're going to box 600 or 6/10 going sideways. All right, and we're going to count how many we've put in our box, and that'll be the answer. All right, since this one is smaller than 1, we can't do what we did on the previous page. Oops. On the previous page, we made the setup for 2 and 1/10 horizontally, and then we had 1 and 5/10 vertically. On this one, since 6/10 is smaller, we're not even using the whole thing. we're only using 6/10. So we're going to box off 6/10. What I mean by that, what I mean by that is, as you can see, this is 6/10, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10. So remember, we're going kind of like one way this way, one way vertically, one way horizontally. So we're going to count how many are in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many groups of 6? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have 13 groups of 6, right? Which is the same thing as 1 3/10 times 6/10. All right, so when we do the math, 6 times 1, 6 plus 1 is 7. 2 decimal places should be 78 hundredths. And all of this put together, all of these squares inside the box will equal 78. So we had 6, 12, 18, 24, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, and then 54, 60, 66, 72, 78, right? So 13 groups of 6 is 78. So 1 3/10 times 6 is 78 hundredths, right? So inside this box right here is 78 hundredths. All right, one last page. This last page is just moving the decimal point. So we're just going to count how many decimal places are in our problem, and we're going to put that many in our solution. All right, so we have 1, 2 decimal places. So we would move 1, 2 spots. 1, 2 decimal places. So we'd move 1, 2 spots. 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So we'd move 1, 2, 3 spots. And on this one, we only have 1 decimal place. So we'd move 1 spot. So also you got to think about if this is reasonable. Is 12 times 2 going to be around 29? Is 5 times 3 going to be around 20? And you can kind of tell once you place that decimal point, if you put it in the wrong place, the answer just isn't going to make much sense. Because the fact that, let's say we put the decimal place in the wrong place, 5 times 3 doesn't equal 207. 5 times 3 doesn't equal 2. So if we put the decimal place point in the wrong place, we can check our work by deciding if it's reasonable. All right, is 50 cents times 6 maybe 4? That sounds about right. Is 42 times 3 going to be 159? That sounds about right. But if I said 42 times 3 equals 15, you'd be like, that doesn't make sense. All right, so remember, count the decimal places in the problem, make sure there's that many in your product, and that's it. All right, so last thing for today is your quiz. The quiz is just going to be the same exact activities with multiplying decimals. So I'm just going to talk about it real quick and then send you on your way. So 1 can of peas weighs 3 1400 grams. What is the weight of 30 cans? So remember, 3 1400 times 30. Which one of these answers even sounds reasonable? Like what we just talked about. 3 times 30 would be what? The height of a bike is 27 3/10 inches. Shauna is 2 4/10 times taller than the height of the bike. How tall is Shauna? Once again, this is a multiplication problem. 27 3/10 times 2 4/10. Think about which one of the answers is reasonable, and then check your work using the algorithm. All right, so that's a preview on your quiz. You're just multiplying those two numbers, and that should get you the end. Remember, when you're multiplying more, at least a 2 by 2 multiplication, second line 1's place 0. And don't forget, count your decimal places at the end and put that many, however many decimal places are in your problem, make sure that there's that many decimal places also in your solution. All right, so I hope all y'all at home are having a good day. Please make sure you do all your work today so you can get your attendance credit and all that. Yeah, we're not. It's weird. It's weird to say, like, you can't reach out to your teachers. You can blend message us, but during the STAR, we can't use computers or anything, so we might not be online. So it may take a while to get back to you. If you do have any questions, so please do reach out. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll keep trying to make videos for y'all this week and everything. And I will see you later. Have a good day. Bye.